Imagine falling in love with someone so completely that you would risk everything, your reputation, your family's approval, even centuries of tradition, just to be with them. Now imagine that person is destined to become king, and you are a divorced commoner working as a television journalist. This is not the plot of a fairy tale or a romantic movie, this is the real-life love story of King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain, a romance so controversial that it sent shockwaves through the Spanish establishment and forever changed one of Europe's oldest monarchies. Before we dive into this incredible journey of love, sacrifice, and transformation, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and drop a comment below telling us what you think about their remarkable story. Share this video with anyone who believes in the power of true love, because what you are about to discover will challenge everything you thought you knew about modern royalty. The year was 2002, and Spain was buzzing with anticipation. Prince Felipe, the heir to the Spanish throne, was considered one of Europe's most eligible bachelors. Tall, handsome, educated, and charming, he had everything a future king should possess. The Spanish people had watched him grow from a young boy into a distinguished man who seemed to carry the weight of his destiny with grace and dignity. By his mid-30s, everyone from royal watchers to ordinary citizens wondered when the prince would finally settle down and choose a bride. The pressure was immense, not just from his family but from an entire nation that wanted to see their future king happy and the royal lineage secured. Little did anyone know that Felipe had already met the woman who would change his life forever, and she was nothing like what anyone expected. Letizia Ortiz Roquesolano was born in Oviedo, Spain, in 1972, into a middle-class family with no royal connections whatsoever. Her father was a journalist and her mother was a nurse, and Letizia grew up in a world completely removed from palaces and protocol. She was brilliant, ambitious, and determined to make her own way in the world. After studying journalism at the Complutense University of Madrid, she worked her way up through various media outlets, eventually becoming one of Spain's most respected television news anchors. By 2002, she was the face of the evening news on Television Española, reporting on everything from international conflicts to domestic politics. She had already been married once, to a literature teacher named Alonso Guerrero Perez, though that marriage ended in divorce after just 1 year. Letizia was independent, successful, and had built a life on her own terms, never imagining that she would one day trade her journalist credentials for a crown. The meeting between Felipe and Letizia happened in the aftermath of tragedy. In November 2002, the Prestige oil tanker disaster struck the coast of Galicia, creating an environmental catastrophe that devastated the region. Letizia was covering the story as a journalist, and Felipe was there in his capacity as Prince of Asturias, showing support for the affected communities. According to various accounts, their eyes met, and something extraordinary happened. Despite their vastly different worlds, despite the impossible barriers that stood between them, they felt an undeniable connection. But this was not a connection that could be pursued openly. Felipe was the heir to the throne, bound by centuries of tradition and protocol, and Letizia was a divorced commoner with a career in the media. In the traditional world of European royalty, this combination was almost unthinkable. What followed was a clandestine romance that would make any spy novel seem tame. For months, Felipe and Letizia conducted their relationship in absolute secrecy. They met in private locations, away from the prying eyes of the press and the royal household. Felipe would arrange secret rendezvous, sometimes disguising himself to avoid recognition. Letizia, despite her public profile as a news anchor, managed to keep their relationship completely hidden from her colleagues and the public. The secrecy was not just romantic, it was necessary. If news of their relationship had leaked before they were ready, the scandal could have derailed everything. The Spanish royal family, still recovering from various controversies, needed to handle this situation with extreme delicacy. Felipe knew that introducing Letizia to his family and to Spain would require perfect timing and careful strategy. The announcement came on November 1, 2003, and it exploded like a bombshell across Spain and the entire world. The royal palace released a statement confirming that Prince Felipe was engaged to Letizia Ortiz, a journalist and a divorced commoner. The reaction was immediate and divided. Many Spaniards were thrilled that their prince had chosen love over tradition, seeing it as a sign that the monarchy was modernizing and becoming more relatable. Young people especially embraced the idea of a Cinderella story come to life, with an ordinary woman rising to become their future queen. But the opposition was fierce and vocal. Conservative sectors of Spanish society were scandalized. How could a divorced woman become queen? What about the Catholic Church's stance on divorce? What about centuries of royal protocol that demanded princes marry princesses or at least women from aristocratic families? Some critics questioned whether Letizia was truly suitable to represent Spain on the world stage, whether she had the proper training and background for such a monumental role. The controversy intensified when details of Letizia's past emerged in the media. Her previous marriage was dissected in newspapers and television programs. Her family background was examined under a microscope. Every aspect of her life became public property, scrutinized and debated by millions of people who had never met her. For Letizia, this must have been overwhelming. She went from being a respected journalist who asked the questions to being the subject of intense, often harsh, public examination. But through it all, Felipe stood by her side. He made it clear that Letizia was his choice, and that he was willing to face any consequence to marry the woman he loved. This demonstration of commitment won over many skeptics who had initially questioned the relationship. The wedding took place on May 22, 2004, at the Almudena Cathedral in Madrid. It was a spectacular event watched by millions around the world. Letizia wore an elegant wedding dress designed by Manuel Pertegas, made of silk and embroidered with gold and silver thread. She looked every inch a princess, poised and elegant, despite the enormous pressure she must have felt. Felipe looked at his bride with unmistakable love and pride. The ceremony was a blend of traditional royal protocol and modern touches, symbolizing the new era the couple represented. When they exchanged vows, they were not just marrying each other, they were making a statement about the future of the Spanish monarchy. The crowds that lined the streets of Madrid were massive, and their cheers drowned out any remaining whispers of controversy. In that moment, Letizia officially became Princess of Asturias, and her transformation from journalist to royal was complete. The years that followed tested their relationship in ways that few couples ever experience. Letizia had to learn an entirely new way of life, mastering royal protocol, learning to navigate the complex world of international diplomacy, and adapting to constant public scrutiny. She gave up her career, her independence, and much of her privacy to support Felipe and prepare for their future roles. Together, they welcomed two daughters, Princess Leonor in 2005 and Infanta Sofia in 2007, ensuring the continuation of the royal line and bringing joy to the Spanish people. But royal life was not without its challenges. There were rumors of tension with Felipe's mother, Queen Sofia, who reportedly had reservations about Letizia joining the family. There were constant media intrusions and tabloid stories, some true and many fabricated, that put pressure on their marriage. Through it all, Felipe and Letizia presented a united front, showing the world that their love was stronger than any obstacle. On June 19, 2014, everything changed once again. King Juan Carlos, Felipe's father, abdicated the throne in favor of his son. Suddenly, Felipe became King Felipe VI, and Letizia became Queen Letizia of Spain. The former journalist who had once reported the news was now making headlines as one of the most powerful women in Spain. Queen Letizia embraced her new role with remarkable grace and dedication. She became a champion of numerous causes, focusing on education, nutrition, and rare diseases. Her background as a journalist gave her a unique ability to communicate with people from all walks of life, making her one of the most accessible and relatable queens in Spanish history. She brought a modern sensibility to the monarchy, using social media, engaging directly with citizens, and breaking down some of the traditional barriers that had kept the royal family distant from ordinary Spaniards. Today, more than 2 decades after that fateful meeting during the Prestige disaster, Felipe and Letizia remain one of the most intriguing royal couples in the world. They have weathered storms that would have destroyed lesser relationships, from the initial controversy of their engagement to the ongoing challenges of royal life in the 21st century. They have raised their daughters to be modern young women while preparing Princess Leonor to one day become Spain's first queen regnant in over a century. They have modernized the Spanish monarchy, making it more transparent, more accountable, and more connected to the Spanish people. Queen Letizia, in particular, has become a style icon and a role model for women around the world who see in her story a powerful message about the possibility of reinvention and the importance of staying true to yourself even when circumstances demand transformation. Their love story challenges our assumptions about what a royal romance should look like. It reminds us that love does not always follow the rules or meet society's expectations. It shows us that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose love over convention, even when that choice requires enormous sacrifice and courage. Felipe gave up the possibility of a traditional royal marriage for the woman he loved, and Letizia gave up her career, her privacy, and her old life to stand beside him. Together, they have created a partnership that has not only endured but has helped reshape one of Europe's oldest monarchies for the modern age. So here is the question that will leave you thinking long after this video ends. If you had to choose between following your heart and meeting everyone else's expectations, if you had to sacrifice everything familiar to pursue true love, if the entire world was watching and judging your every decision, would you have the courage to do what Felipe and Letizia did, or would the weight of tradition and public opinion change your mind?